Hey, muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. And as always, muchísimas gracias to everyone for your guys' words, prayers, and for everything you guys expressed my way. Thank you. Now, to get into the story on hand, I want to continue off on my story. I do not want to talk about the same individuals back to back, so I'll move past the next one and then go back to the second part, right? Well, in this one, I want to talk about a feeling that, to be sincere, I came a lot of power hungry tecatos, you know, good Billies, but this is an individual that, I came to dislike on a personal note, right? But again, I wasn't man enough, just keeping it a buck, to man up and, take action. And not just because of his actions, because, I couldn't leave it alone. And, if you want to say on the DL, for it, I got checked, right? By, the Pilisana. But, let me allow to try to make some sense of it, right? This is going to circle around, Chino from National City, San Diego. And, how's, up until this point, always rumors were up in the air, but, as I came to, go from spot to spot, I learned, that all that he said, she said, take it as face value, right? So even though the rumors were out there, right here in this, USP, we're in the same jardín. During this stay, there was a misunderstanding, right? With, Isleños, or guys from Las Islas, right? Which, Dominicanos, Cubanos, Puerto Ricans, XX, just, you could say there was some misunderstanding, so the yard went up, right? And, it was nothing big, but, there was coronas given back and forth, so we actually went on lockdown for a little bit. At this time, Chino had a young bug, SSLE, right? Which, I won't put his placazo for obvious reasons, right? And, he was from B&E, though. Again, he must have been a first termer for, certain reasons. He ended up in the feds and, ended up as Chino selling. Now, during this lockdown, I guess people get comfortable, right? And I remember one day they're still only letting out for playas, and, the homie from Crazy Riders, Rojo, he, went to address something to Chino, right? And, his mistake and why he got checked as well, right, was that he didn't give the proper respects, as you to do so once you approach somebody's cell, right? Which is never look in, call from the side, and, announce yourself. He got there, for whatever his relationship, he felt he could, Nevertheless, when he looked inside, he seen Chino on the homie, you guys know, doing the max, right? So, right away, he went down and, told Tony from Garrity Lomas and, addressed it, which, by the time we came up, it had already circled, right? So it became a big issue, which, it makes a difference from he said, she said to actually being present, right, where you're at. Then, a bunch of different things start popping up. For example, I do understand that, most of them older vatos are used to it, right? Because it was something normal, as, forcing themselves on, pollos, right? young bucks getting into the system, or even utilizing them to make failure, right? In that sense, forcing them to give up, which just being sincere, it makes no sense to me, cause I'll just leave it at that, right? And when we got back up, of course, as I mentioned to you guys, I used to walk around with Sana and Frankie and a couple camaradas, and before anything even surfaced, for the disrespect that Ojo Rojo, excuse me, had done, right? He had a chacada coming. Nothing major, just a couple of jogoloteras, and that's it, right? But anyways, nevertheless, I was carrying this individual, right? And of course, being around Sana that had so much colmillo, he addressed it, right? And asked me what was bothering me, For certain reasons, we started lining up plans, right? And basically I told him, that in no way, shape, or form was I defending the vato, right? Because he had already been approached, and it was something that happened from the gate, right? And for those that heard a backtrack to Chino, it was a common thing, right? He starts playing around, seeing how far he could get, exposing himself like a weirdo, and them stating his power, his reach to get him to where he wants them to get, right? Which is to allow him to go ahead and treat him like you guys know. I don't want to get into details because that's one thing I despise. All that X crimes or whatever is should be a big no-no, right? It's when I was in the system, it was not tolerated for nothing, right? In no way, shape, or form. So I expressed myself to Sana so that I understood that either way, the vato, the homie, whatever, it was done. Because if they decided to move on Chino, homeboy got a Billy cross, right? For going out backwards, right? If it was done a different way, he still allowed somebody to press on him like so, right? Without defending himself, which in reality, if you sit down and think about it, if he would have done that, he would have been done too, right? But the worst part was that homeboy came out, expressed himself to Joe, Tony, even Sana and others, how it was behind threats. And again, I'm not siding or co-signing that the vato was in the right to allow an individual, to basically do that to him, right? But, if the vato's known for it, if he was a Billy or not, shouldn't be allowed to program, right? But you see, they tend to politic against each other for the smallest thing, take people's career, but at the end of the day, they'll back each other up when it comes to covering these things, right? And, Chino was gonna eventually go home. So, that reach, right? And it's what makes it even worse, right? Even though as myself being a lifer at one point, that never crossed my mind, right? So he has to have those tendencies, right? Regardless for being with a dating, but again, he will laugh it off, right? So Mino Tecato. I think I overdared it, and I tend to extend the partying and as a joke, right? When it's a young buck trying to get glitcha from somebody that's supposed to give it. Instead, he's getting utilized for this vato's needs, funny needs for that. But nevertheless, the vato's words were not met in any way, just behind steel, right? They had him hit and removed, and nothing happened with Chino. Nobody was to speak about it no more. If you heard about that incident, you were to stay quiet and never speak about it. It's when madriaga came through, on the hush hush by Sana, because I mentioned it to him, and he told me, I can't look other way, but I'm not gonna express why, but you to go in the cell and, for bringing up a carnal's name when it's supposed to be a squash thing. So I did, and I took it as a lesson for speaking up for the obvious when I should have known better, right? When it comes to us in general, right? Whatever we think is right or wrong don't apply to them. We follow under their rules and regulations. They don't. They're there to give them, not to follow them. It's a losing thing when it comes to expressing your opinion. Again, if this was happening while he was inside, had as much soap as he wanted, had a release date, he had an opportunity to lace people up right, leave his name under different circumstances behind, besides being a mino tecato and pushing himself on camaradas casi sin weakness in them, right? Which at the end of the day, all camaradas are weak, right? Because you could tell me I'm wrong in so many ways of my inner look of things, but you can't say they think of us as anywhere in the same level, right? Just speaking the obvious. But if he was doing that in there, imagine now that he's on the streets. I know there's going to be a lot of hate coming on here telling me, because he's out there. But just think about it, He's a ex-offender, however you want to paint it, right? Running Campos program, rules, regulations, and most importantly, deciding who's good and who's not. When in reality, when it comes down to, he's no good, right? He's just in a position now to bless people, and that's worth a lot more than righteousness. After this, I carried this individual for a while, but I never expressed it again. One time I sat down with the old man from Gary de Lomos, and he basically told me, I know why you're a little bit distant recently, my advice is just slide it, let it slide off. Don't speak about it, just let it slide. And again, I was my worst enemy, right? I always found a way to fool myself and keep pushing, right? To look past things, and this individual did not just go out in the worst way that when it comes to our causa is, but also me speaking about it had my butt hit, right? Of course, it was a checada and dispuesto, vámonos, right? But regardless, right? But anyways, with this, I'm not stating, as many come on here saying that all of them are so. There's good feelings that I can't put none of this on them because they're righteous, right? But you can't, with good actions from one, two individuals, take the finger off majority, right? It's how you fool people. Because again, you go from place to place and everything's different. But anyways, before I go, I'm not going to stress this comment by name. But, I'm just going to advise you to do the research, Because when this was happening with me, there was quite numerous of camaradas going through the same issue, under the same base, and getting put in those places that I got put. I don't need to clear my personal story up with you. You tend to say, always start off by, I like your stories, this and that, and just go off from left field, right? About how I'm this, and that. I'm just gonna say this. My respects. If you feel offended, what can I tell you? As I always state, I'm not on here to spread poison. I'm on here to open that little glimpse to those that are still have not been there, done that. Your knowledge, mis respetos. I'm not saying you're wrong. As you state, I'm wrong, right? But it's real easy, a little bit of tarea. But anyways, I come on here to put my message from my personal walk. To be sincere, I don't have the time to be answering this type of thing, so I'm not going to. So por favor, clecha, clecha, clecha. But remember, you're not to acknowledge an individual that speaks against high demand, right? But yeah, you're here. But anyways, please forgive me for taking your time. Again, come on here to see if I'm not gonna say I'm right, I'm wrong. Just as always, if you could take a little bit from myself and for others and just make your own sense, right? At the end of the day, the only reason why I'm even on here is not to encourage or, enlighten that type of life anymore, Basically, to try to really put in truthful look inside to help you minimize that and value your freedom, the ones that need to be valued, right? So please stay true to yourself and loyal to your loved ones. I send my love. Muy buenas noches, everyone.